Hey world. Uh, so today, interesting day. A lot of gratitude today. A lot of positives today. I had a few down moments, a few slips, and old habits come out, and a little bit of confusion at times. Um, and my mind sometimes runs away with things and starts trying to overanalyze and break things down and trying to find finite answers when finite answers don't exist, right? It does when there's numbers, but that's about it. I'm tired today. It was a long day. A lot going on. Really busy day. It was good. It was a really good day. I mean, I had a great day. Um, but overall, it was just there was a lot today. You know, it's at the end of the day, I know I did the best I could with everything I've done today, and that's what matters, right? Like if you can look back and say I did the best I could today, then there's nothing missing, right? You you've got to accept everything for what it is. You have to appreciate everything for what it is. I had a couple amazing realizations today that I really didn't accept previously that I accepted today, and they were all good things. Um, just tough to swallow at times and tough to understand fully exactly what it means, right? And because of my over analytical mind, I want to break it down and understand exactly what it means. But rather than doing what my old habits, which is, push, 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 try and get finite answers, try and get to the bottom of things, trying to get to some type of solution. I think sometimes there just is no solution, right? Sometimes things are meant to be when they are. Sometimes things just happen as they're meant to. While it doesn't seem like it at the time, and while sometimes it just seems like it's pure pain, I think even that happens for a reason. And the pain is growth, right? Sometimes you have to force yourself into a position of pain so that you can evolve and grow from it. And it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant for those around you. It's especially not pleasant for the ones closest to you, which I think is sometimes why you push those people away because you don't want them to feel the pain or the hurt that you're going through. Um, but that's still not a solution, right? I'm learning that pushing people away to protect them from me or protect them from whatever's going on is not always the best idea and is not the best idea, right? You're better off communicating clearly and everything else to be able to do so. Um, I also realized today that my default is to run, right? When I don't understand something, I want to run. I have a tremendous fear of unknowns. Unknowns just like weigh on me like a weight belt and like almost suffocating feeling. Um, because I have trouble with those. I had some amazing moments today, made cookies with the kids, got Thomas and Shell to do their work. I had some time with Sid, played soccer with her for a little bit, which she really loves and she's really good at actually for 3 years old. She needs a smaller soccer ball, so I gotta order that. But it, it's just amazing sometimes, right? Like as you go through the day and as you're there for yourself and there for others and just being the best you can, in turn, you have these moments of just pause, right? Where certain things just sink in and hit you like they never have before. And certain things just make sense like they never have before. And you have these aha moments, you have these moments of clarity, which obviously I love those words. Um, it really was an amazing day, and as much as in the last couple hours I've overthought a lot of things and then mentally like my mind just started wanting to twist things and turn things, and I fought it and I didn't allow it. I meditated. I spoke to a friend, just like cleared my head a little bit, reached out to some of my support to understand better why I'm feeling this way about certain things. It's, I think that's what we do, right? We form these bonds with people and we create these friendships, relationships, and there's a reason bigger than ourselves that we do these things. There's a reason that it makes sense. Um, because while you're talking to somebody else and helping them, you're also helping yourself because you realize that what you're telling them is sometimes what you need to hear yourself. And I think that happens a lot in this world, right? I don't think it's just me or other people that I'm close to that have told me the same thing. it's it's okay to be okay. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be great. It's okay to be happy. I mean, I spent over an hour like just dancing around the house listening to Can't Stop That Feeling. Yes, a major trolls kick these days because of the kids. But if you really listen to the song, it has such a deep meaning, and there's something about it that just lights me up, and I just feel so happy, so content, so fulfilled when I'm listening to it that I need water. Someone once told me to stop buying bottled water because it's a waste and it kills the environment, which I pretty much already knew, but for some reason ignored. So I've done this and it makes sense, actually. Saves money too. Um, it's Today was really a day of really happy, really great, amazing conversations, amazing interactions. But at the same time, it was an extremely reflective day. It was it. I got triggered once today. Uh, I didn't freak out about it. I didn't snap over it. I didn't react. Excuse me. I did for a minute, right? Like, but I caught it and I stopped it, which is huge. I mean, that's enormous, enormous, enormous evolution for me, right? Because when I what I used to do when I got thank you, Kenny. Um, I love you, buddy. Thank you. What I used to do when I used to get triggered is I would go into these spirals of negativity, then create narratives, then just build it out to these huge, enormous things that maybe sometimes there was some truth, but a lot of times it was just me looking at worst case scenario. And when you get stuck in that place, right? I guess like the live like I did with Annie last night or yesterday afternoon, whenever that was. Um, when you get stuck in that moment, you get suffocated and you start feeling like everything's crumbling around you. And I'm glad that today I didn't do that, right? Today I didn't go into that. I didn't sink into it. I didn't allow it. These tools that I'm learning are just remarkable, and how I'm putting them to practice daily, and a lot of times not even giving myself credit for it until these end of the day recaps, which is one of the reasons I love doing them. Because as much as it is me sharing my experience, it's also showing me these little nuggets of what I did that day, right? Like, getting Thomas ready for his class web thing today, or webcam thing today. It was torture. It was horrible. I couldn't find a computer. He was sleeping on it last night. Like, I mean, it was just very difficult at that moment. But you know what? I was okay. And I was on the phone at the same time, and I was still okay. Like, I just did it, right? Like, these are things that I would normally lose my crap over, right? And he pushed my buttons. He pushed my buttons because he has so much anger. This poor kid, um, because of what he's gone through. But and I lost my cool once. Obviously, I didn't touch him, but you know, I apologized and I owned it, and He gave me a big hug and it was great, right? And I also realized something from Monday that I didn't react right on Monday to something, and I own that too, and I apologized to him. And he said it really hurt him emotionally. Um, but I didn't realize I did it until somebody brought it to my attention today. Again, one of the reasons that we have people that we are coaches, our mentors, our guides, right? Because if you don't have those people that you can turn to to rely upon for knowledge, then what are we really doing, right? You only know so much until you ask the right question. And if you don't even know what the right question is, then what are you doing? I mean, I used to spin in circles with things for hours, never ask myself the right question. These days, I'm asking the right questions because I'm looking for the right answer, and I know and I know what I need to know, which is a big difference, right? That's a really big difference in my life today. Um, in certain aspects, I know not to ask certain questions because I don't want to know certain things, and that's fine too because sometimes you just don't need to know. Um, I'm still answering my own questions to people rather than waiting for them to answer out of fear of whatever the answer might be. I do that quite a bit. I don't do it as often as I used to, uh, but I still do it now, and I did it today, and I caught it later. Um, I also over-explained an answer to somebody that didn't need to be over-explained. I gave too much details, and it was like just too much. But that's okay, right? I apologized for it. I owned it, and I moved on. You know, these little mistakes are great lessons for me, because it's not like I can't come back from. It's not like I'm not learning from it. It's not, as I own these things and as I accept these things, it's giving me the power to move forward, right? And to let it go and just be in the next moment. When I used to get stuck in these moments and let it drag out to hours, days, whatever it might have been, right? And my mind, because of everything, right? Because of how I was not raised, but how I allowed myself to be raised and how I allowed myself to seek negative attention and I guess in ways create chaos around me at all times because, I enjoyed the pain. These days, I don't enjoy the pain anymore. These days, I'm looking for the happiness. I'm looking for the bright spots, right? Like these end of day recaps, I talk about the mistakes, but I don't harp on them. I talk about the issues, but I don't harp on them. I'm really using these to share the bright spots because at the end of the day, we all have enough gripes. We all have enough issues. We all have enough worries. What do we need to drown ourselves with them for? And it's a big paradigm shift for me. It's like turning everything upside down completely for me, mentally, spiritually, every way possible, even physically. I would get stressed, and I was a stress eater, right? Everybody else is a stress non-eater. I'm a stressed eater. So when I'm really stressed, I start eating, just eating and eating out of boredom. Um, Not as bad as I used to, but I still do. Uh, Now I'm not doing that as much because I'm not allowing these things to bother me. They're not, right? They're just not. And it really is this beautiful, eye-opening experience that is just, it's amazing. It really is amazing. Um, I think that these changes I'm going through and this process isn't only helping me, but it's helping those around me. And I think it's helping my kids too, little by little, slowly, as they're seeing these changes stick, right? Because the ones that live with you are the ones that notice it last, see it last, feel it last, or the ones closest to you, right? And it's uh, it's pretty remarkable. It really is remarkable. Um, I started crying a couple hours ago because I felt pain, just a lot of pain and a lot of anguish, um, and a lot of uncertainty. And I also realized it wasn't mine, which was made it worse because I realized whose it was. Um, but I allowed it, right? And I felt it, and allowed it to flow through me. But I didn't hold on to it. I didn't keep it, which is what I used to do. I used to let it. I used to let it consume me in so many ways. Um, every day, I seem to be having amazing conversations with new people, and there's this there's this synchronicity to it all that just is filling in the blanks, and that's kind of just bringing pieces to the table. They don't always make sense. They don't always seem like they make sense at the moment. But if you take a step back and you look at the bigger picture, they make perfect sense, right? Because when you're shifting and you're changing, you draw in a different type of person. You attract different types of people. And I had this amazing conversation this morning with this gentleman in Norway, um, who's now a monk. Um, and it was just this enlightened conversation. And, you know, many things came out of the conversation. The one thing that came out of the conversation that made me dwell a little bit today is, you know, he's a monk. He believes in reincarnation, as do I. Um, and he was excited because it was his last cycle. Now, my beliefs are different than most, and I'm not gonna, you know, ever frown upon anybody else's. But I definitely believe in reincarnation. I definitely believe in past lives. I definitely believe in many of those things. And I always thought it was my last cycle. I was always led to believe it was my last cycle. And it was exciting because I'd be at peace, right? Like I've accomplished enough, I've done enough in lives that I'm able to be at peace. Um, but sometimes you make decisions that alter what happens, and I've come to realize that it's probably definitely not going to be my last cycle, but that's okay. I think sometimes everything. I mean, okay, not sometimes, all the times, everything happens for a reason. And when you make decisions, there's usually consequences, right? No matter what they are. And you have to weigh out the checks and balances to see if it's worth it to you. The decision was definitely worth it to me. In no way, shape, or form would I ever make a different decision than what I made. Life is too short to not make decisions that can help another in a tremendous way. And when you value somebody, you'll make selfless decisions to not to a point of harming where you're at or harming what you're going through or harming what your purpose is, but to a point that it just changes what goes forward. Life is really beautiful. Life is absolutely amazing. And it's it truly is what we make of it, right? I think during this process I've realized that the little things is what makes life as powerful as it is. The little things are what really brings life to life, which is, kind of funny saying that, but I was so busy before living in the past or living in the future that I never lived in the present. And I know I've talked about this before. Now that I'm getting more comfortable in the present, I'm appreciating the little things so much more. Like, I mean, I still can't get over that car ride back listening to the Trolls soundtrack. It was so awesome. The kids were just so happy. and everybody was dancing, everybody was singing. It was now my voice is horrible, but that's okay. But it was just a moment that I'll never forget, right? It was, and then today again, right? Like they heard me listening to Can't Lose That Feeling, whatever it is. Um, but when they heard it, they said, "Ooh, I want to put Trolls on," right? And then they were dancing, they were singing, and it was just like these little things are just the moments to grab onto. Like these are the things that make life so worth it, no matter what the circumstance is, that it can lift you above any circumstance or situation. And I know that's tough to believe right now because of the way that the world is, but there is an enormous shift going on in this world. Um, More people are waking up than ever. There is a spiritual transformation going on around the planet, and there are many people out there that are helping. There's many people out there that are lifting others up on a regular basis. There are resources now. In the call this morning, we also talked about how technology plays a role and how the reality is you can be 10,000 miles away from somebody and still feel close to them because of technology. You can be around the corner and still be distant because you have no connection. You can you can choose to accept things that aren't really what you want because it's convenient. And I've done that my whole life. Like I've always done that. I've always accepted convenience as the best way. And at this point in my life, I'm going to choose connection. I'm going to choose the right road because for me, convenience has never been the right road. Now, it doesn't mean it's not for others, and it doesn't mean that everybody or other people can't choose their own path because they have to. But it also doesn't mean that convenience is the end all destination. You know, I think I'm going to leave it at that tonight because I've said a lot of different things and I've said a lot of little nuggets and a lot of information in a short period of time. I guess when you do by yourself a 20, 21, 22, 23 minute conversation, well, I mean, Kenny's here obviously, so Kenny's the best. But other than that, when you're just the only one on the screen talking, it's you just can output so much information at once that it gets a little overwhelming to the person doing it, even if it is me, and I can never stop talking because I can talk forever, especially based on different topics. But all right, everybody, I love you all. Have an amazing night, and thank you, Kenny. I appreciate you. Um, have an amazing night, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. I hate this how it goes on even after I hit it.